You should have been did that.
Yeah, but I just didn't want a whole bunch.
Oh shoot!
What?
I don't know how to get back to the little chatty thing.
Oh, I turn it on and start over. It's called a reset. I need a haircut. Actually, I need more. Why do people call it haircuts if you get more than one haircut?
What?
If I say I need a haircut, that's like I'm gonna take one hair and cut it. So a haircut. Why do they call it a haircut if you get more than one hair cut? You don't understand?
So they should be calling it a hair's cut.
Yeah.
No,
you get more than
that
one.
Don't make sense.
I mean,
we're not gonna do that.
That's just like why is it a bra but it's two titties that go inside?
Like really?
I'm just saying. Think about that. Seriously.
Because it's really called brassiere.
Oh, okay.
And bra is just like the shortened form of that.
So why is it called a brassiere and not brassieres? Because you have two breasts that go inside.
You know what?
Why are they called panties, but it's only one pair that go on? Like if you say, "Do you see my panties?" Yeah, I see a whole drawer full of them. But if you're only talking about one, we don't say. Well, I guess you do say your drawers.
Yes. I don't know what you're talking about. Go with your topic, because I'm trying to figure this out, and you talking about some. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, baby. It's
Penny, you don't smoke weed, so I'm not sure what's going on right now.
I'm in deep thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do I have to tell my topic? You should tell my topic because I don't explain stuff.
No, you tell it because I don't even. Yeah, you're right. So I don't.
So then you should have figured it out before you decided to want to get on here.
You was talking about your topic, and I'm just confused. You guys, I can't see the chat, so I was trying to figure out how to get the chat back on there, but I'm not. I don't know. I need to play with this thing a little more. You would think.
Hey, right? Not in front of everybody. Oh, you talking about the computer? My bad. Thought we was talking about free stuff. Anyway, I was gonna. I came up with this on the whim.
You real nasty.
So, you just caught what I said.
Yes.
Whatever. I want to talk about biggest fears, from a man's perspective, as well as a woman's perspective of getting married or being married. Because I see, of course, like I said, we see a lot of people talking about how bad relationships are and terrible marriages are, or whatever. So I think if people get their fears out of the way early on, then it may help with those situations. So what do you believe from a woman's perspective?
I found it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What from I'm in Iowa, man. What do you think is the biggest fear from a woman's perspective of getting married?
The biggest fear?
Yeah. Fears.
Probably the guy gonna cheat on her. Infidelity.
Okay. So how do you get around that?
I think that's the biggest fear.
How do a woman get around that insecurity of thinking a man is going to cheat?
I don't know how you get around that.
Well, it's gonna be a quick conversation.
No, I'm just thinking because people are continually surprised by people. Like I'm looking at these marriage groups, and you got people that have literally been together 30 years. Okay, I'm not gonna just say fidelity. I think the biggest fear is that there's either going to be infidelity that leads to divorce or like the end of the marriage. I think that's the woman's biggest fear overall. Is like there being a divorce. And a lot of times from what I'm looking at in these groups, that comes from infidelity. But it does come from other things, but the majority of it is infidelity. And you got people that say that they grow apart or whatever. So I think that's maybe the woman's biggest fear when it comes to getting married. Nobody wants to waste their time or feel like they wasted their time.
Do you think that will stop a lot of women from getting married, that fear? Because I think a lot of people would agree with the fear that I'm going to say from us, our biggest fear. But do you think that will stop a lot of women from actually taking the step to go to get married?
No.
I don't either. Well, I think from a man's perspective, and if you think of something else you could tell me, woman, because you don't have those fears, baby. Anyway, I think from a male's perspective, the biggest fear from us getting married is or a man getting married or men getting married is that the divorce process. Um, Meaning, especially if a man is the financial, where am I hearing it? Financial provider uh, of a woman taking half. That's what I hear a lot from people that I've been around and seen go through it is while even how Drake said she wasn't with you shooting in the gym. So a lot of that is that'll be one of a man's biggest fear. I don't really think that we fear the infidelity part like you guys do. I think it's more of what, and that'll actually stop a lot of men from proposing and getting married because he's scared if it doesn't work, he got to pay the alimony, the child support, and take half of what.
So you're saying the man isn't worried about the fact that it just ended?
Not as much as you guys. I honestly believe
he's more worried about the consequences
of the divorce,
like the financial.
Yep. I really believe that, and if you poll 10 men, I guarantee you. I mean, they're probably going to say, other things as well, but you'll get that out of all of it because that's, I mean, if you got somebody that don't have nothing, like at the end of the day, if you don't have nothing and you're not worried about that, but most men will fear the child support and the alimony and if they have something or assets, getting half of it taken. Most men won't get married for that, or a lot of men. I don't want to say most. A lot of men will not get married for that. So a lot of times when women, be like, "Why he won't marry me?" or this, that, and the third. Yeah, it could be because he no good dude, this, that, and the third. But that right there alone would make a lot of people not cross the line.
You think so, for real?
I know so.
Oh, that's weird.
I hear it all the time. See, true. I was right. So the infidelity part, I would think that you said a woman's biggest fear. If how is that really a fear? I know it's I think it's I guess it's a fear, but it's more of a reality to them, or you could say complacency or normalcy to them because of that too. Because so that's why they would go through with a marriage, and it really doesn't stop a woman from getting married because she's probably been cheated on. A man hasn't worked his whole life or been in relationships where he every time he break ups with somebody, it's because he has to give them money like that. You know what I'm saying?
So saying.
Yeah.
So women still get married in spite of her fears because her fear has to do with like the marriage ending. But in spite of that, most of the time they'll take that chance because they've already been through that process before.
Exactly. And I think if men, I think if men had to go through it, like every relationship you're in, you have to pay out XYZ because even the men that's okay with paying alimony and spousal support, rather, and things of that, it takes a person a long time to build back up from that. If we had to go through that with every time that we cheated on a woman and she broke up with us and then we had to pay her, I think that would lessen. I mean, make that even more of a fear. Because I'm telling you now, anybody get married. If I don't know if I'd have married you if I had a whole bunch of money, and then how I was, and I used to be out in them streets, and I know if I go out here and cheat with another woman, I got to give you half just because I went and smelled another woman's underarms. Yeah, I don't know if I would have did that neither. So, yep.
Okay.
So it's one of your topics because I have another one as well.
Well, you want to go to the other one? You want me to go first?
Okay, we can go to the other one.
I knew he was going to do that because
what do you think? This you better elaborate on this.
Okay.
What is it that a man did, could do, I did, whatever you want to say, to make women fall deeply in love with that man? You get what I'm saying? Like, what is it that we can do to make you guys fall in love with us? I don't want to say immediately, but faster, quicker, whatever.
Like if we're dating?
Yeah. Like from a relationship, from a friendship standpoint to dating standpoint, what can a man do to just have, or you feel as though a man can do to have a lot of women, most women, whatever you want to say, go all in with their emotions and their feelings? Or what would it take?
Emotionally connect with them. That's the thing.
Well, how often does that happen?
It doesn't happen often.
So then why do y'all always fall in love so easy? So something has, so you got to give me more than that.
Okay, so then what do you think men are doing to make women fall? Because I don't know if women are actually falling in love or if some women are just wanting some type of connection with a guy. So whoever they find, they're attaching to. I believe that there are a lot of women with abandonment issues, right? And I think those abandonment issues, whether they're stem from something that happened to them in their childhood, issues with maybe a male figure in their life, that sometimes manifests itself in women attaching themselves to men. I don't know if they're really actually in love with men at the time that they're attaching themselves to them, or if they just think it's love or what. But I think sometimes women become emotionally bonded with a guy because of past experience and trauma, not necessarily love.
And you think that happens?
I think it happens the majority of the time.
Wow. That's interesting.
I just do.
So it's nothing that. So what? So why did you fall in love with me?
No. But I'm saying
no.
Okay,
no. Me answer that. Answer the question. What did I do to make you fall in love with me?
That. So I think in order for a woman to actually be in love with a guy, he has to emotionally connect with her, and that's one of the things that you did. So what I mean by emotionally connecting is actually making an effort.
All that was a lie. I just wanted to have sex.
I know, right? I kind of figured that's what you did.
Anyway.
But I mean, like. In emotionally connected, what I'm saying is actually knowing and learning her.
It's sex or money. Right. But you know what though? That's what's crazy about that is that's how a lot of people think, and that's why we have so many divorces and people on the internet, social media talking about, oh, he's not this or she's not that or whatever, because of that. Everything that's funny. We just had an incident of talk with it just happened. Anyway, sex and money to me, when we've discussed this before, is the worst two things that somebody could be in a relationship for. All of the worst two things. Because what happens if that person goes broke? You don't love them anymore. So was that love in the beginning? What happens if that person, because we all get older, erection goes away or accident happens where they can't do it, or she gets older and whatever happens, body dries up, however you want to say. So what do you do in those circumstances? Do you just break up with the person and go get somebody else? They're not a used car. They're not. That's what that dude said. I hate when he kept saying it. They're not a used car, something that you can wash away, just throw away. So what happens with that? Those are the two, to me, worst things that we as individuals could do to find a partner.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're talking about true love, genuine love. You're talking about a connection that a lot of people don't. I don't think they have it. Like, to be honest, women have been through hell historically. Mm-hmm. Black women have been through hell historically. Most of it at the hands of Black men. So because of that, I think that sometimes women will attach to men that they may not really be in love with. I'm thinking like to me, their trauma, their experience is manifesting itself in them thinking that they love this person, but they really don't. But that person has a smidget of something that they've been missing.
So I'm going to tell you what I think from and this is coming from a no good person standpoint. At the time I used to be, what I figured out or found out, what women was liking about me the most when I was out there doing whatever I was doing in my wrongness was honesty. They thought I was being honest, and I wasn't.
I don't think they thought you was being honest.
No. I very much do think they were being honest, because I had a whole bunch of. How you gonna tell me? And I had a whole bunch of people telling me that.
Okay, they were saying that too, but women inherently think most women, so don't do that.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I believe that.
Next point.
I'm not finished. That's why I believe that most men, if a man could be, because that's what I was with you, 98% of the situation.
Okay, but go to the next one.
So if you can be honest with a woman, you can get a lot further, and you can if you become honest and she can respect your honesty, you give her something to respect as far as you being honesty, then that start allowing you guys to.
I don't think so.
Right,
but go ahead. I disagree.
Honesty and maturity from the man. He has to be mature as far as which goes into my point of why men too. But he has to. The matureness of trying to love, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. Well,
What do you mean by that? Relationship maturity?
Yes. And having,
in what way though?
Having certain goals and realistic goals that he's trying to work forward. Like if we sit down and talk about where we want to go, this, that, and the third, sooner or later my life will dictate, and what I'm doing in my life will dictate that I'm trying, even in the dating phase, that this is what I'm trying to go
Okay,
to.
so then what's the other ones?
I wasn't even finished.
Because I don't think that's it, y'all.
Well, then I'll give it up.
I'm just saying, go ahead. You asked my opinion. I'm telling you from a woman's perspective. You're going to try to tell me from a man's perspective what you think you can do.
Well, that's what I do. What did I, and then I go back to what I said. What did I do to make you fall in love with me? I was emotionally connected. Where did that come from? But that came from being mature. I did have certain plans until the trucking industry went that way. So then I had a little bit of plans of where I wanted to go. Certain things that I had that I said that I wanted to do, that you wanted to do in my life. And we both wanted we both wanted those. And then we started achieving that before
that's
we
other
even
stuff though. I'm saying initially to even get to that point, she has to feel like you're emotionally connected to her. Forget everything else. But no, forget everything else. Because most of the time we think y'all lying anyway. So don't do that. So it ain't the honesty, it's being emotionally connected to the woman.
Well, you thought I was lying, but how did that turn out for you?
What, that I thought you was lying?
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
so I'm saying,
but when you start, yes, it did, because me being honest, I gave you something. Excuse me. You thought I was lying, and as time went on, you started seeing I wasn't really lying, right? So then, even with what you're saying, y'all think we lie anyway. That emotional connection that we can portray could be a lie as well. But my honesty from the beginning gave you a reason to believe that, I was a little bit more emotional than the average person. Did it not?
Yeah, honesty in what respect?
Just I was being honest about my feelings and how I felt.
Oh, okay. When you talk about in that respect, then yeah, okay, honesty about feelings and stuff, yes.
Yes, and so therefore, but with my
that's
honesty,
part of being emotionally connected.
Okay, yes,
so that's
but that had with the honesty of me saying, hey, you know what? I like you, I love you, whatever the case may be. I really want this to go this way. When we get into an argument, I did things differently than other people did. Hold on.
Right.
So that showed you that I was being honest on how, in my opinion, that I was being honest on how I felt about you.
But it showed me more that you were willing to
exactly,
understood.
But that led to the emotional connection. How did it not?
That can't. But
how can you be emotionally connected to somebody that you know lying?
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can say it simultaneously or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that when a person does that, right? That's all about us feeling like, okay, well, he's really being considerate of my feelings more so than, oh, he's being honest. It's more like, oh, he actually trying to get to know me. He's actually trying to get to learn me. He's actually considerate of my feelings. He's actually taking that into account. He's actually communicating with me in a way that's respectful of my feelings, or a way that indicates. So that's what I'm trying to say.
So
like
I get that, but what I'm trying to tell you, if somebody tell you, hey, I want this, that, and the third, yada 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 yada, and then everything you just mentioned, when something happened, they don't give the effort that you're talking about to show you.
But that. I'm saying I have to feel that.
Can you believe that they're being honest with you?
No. I'm saying I have to feel that first, that emotional connection first. Otherwise, I don't care. You can be vocal about, oh, I love you, but you be lying. Exactly. I had straight narcissists tell me that.
Exactly.
So you have to feel connected, emotionally connected first. That allows us to let everything else in and grow. That's what I'm saying.
How can you feel emotionally connected with somebody you don't trust?
You start to develop that connection as the
because of their honesty, and they've shown you that they were telling the truth on how they would. Now they could
disagree. I'm okay. I don't know what part of that.
All right, well, I'm done.
I'm just saying, what part of that you know?
I don't know. So now, from a man's perspective,
this is what we do all the time.
I believe, from a man's perspective, I believe what well, I guess every man is different, but we want somebody that we know for a fact. This is gonna sound crazy. I can't say all men think like this, but I guess we want somebody that's loyal. And it's crazy when I say loyal, because a lot of times, even if we want to believe the person that we want that person to be loyal, even if we're not loyal. I'm not saying all men, but in the back of our minds, for the most part, I believe that. I honestly believe that if I want to know that the woman that I have, not me now, the old me, but a lot of men don't mature. We already had that discussion. And a lot of us don't. If I have this woman, I don't have to worry about her cheating on me. I don't have to worry about her doing this. Unless you're just out there.
Apparently, you don't want to have to worry about her taking half if you divorce her.
That's what I'm talking about when I say the loyalty aspect. We don't want to feel like none of that, right? So you have to feel like that that woman is a solid woman to the point of your faults. Now I know that sounds selfish as hell, and it is. But that's the type. It might be, but that's the type of thing that I don't want to say men with substance if they're cheating, but that most men want. They want somebody that, of course, have their back through thick and thin, that loves them and everything else that's typical in a relationship. But it's that underlying issue of like, if I mess up, oh, you gonna cheat on me? Don't go be a hoe because I was a hoe. You're better than me. Yep.
Anyway.
You know why I fell in love with you?
Why?
You want to know the God honest truth?
Yeah.
Reason I fell in love with you.
Let some of your associates tell you I know it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the reason I fell in love with you is because you're beautiful. It's the only reason.
Whatever, shut up.
And you can cook. But that's all I have.
Let's give him a round of applause. He actually came up with some topics, y'all. Oh, shoot. Give it up for Jermaine.
As well as you motivated me. I think that plays a lot. Somebody that, it depends on what stage you are in your life, but motivation actually helps.
Okay.
So, anyway.
All right. So I only had 2.
Yeah, okay, go.
Okay. So one of them was like, I don't think we talked about this the last time, but it's about what we're teaching our kids as far as relationships, right?
Ooh.
And we talked before about the guy who had the daughter, and the daughter said she didn't want a man like him because he never shown her how to love, right? Yeah, they want you're right. They want the woman that's willing to go through trauma.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
That's exactly what men want.
Until we get it together. I totally
that's
agree.
That's going to stick by him thick and thin.
Yep.
Until they decide to get together. And by the time they get
and
together,
y'all don't deserve that. No, I'm not saying that that's okay.
By the time they get it together, she's crazy, and they don't really want to be with her at that point anyway, because now she suspect them of everything under the sun.
Yep, I
suspect them of having sex with sheeps and everything else. Because don't tell them what y'all gonna do.
I'm
just saying, but that's exactly true. But it's very toxic.
Very. So
yeah, that's the
good point, Coco.
That toxic masculinity too.
Man, get to your subject, man. I got class work.
Okay, look. So what we're teaching our kids about relationships, and we talked last week about the guy who had the daughter who said she didn't want to marry a man like her. I mean, like him, because she didn't think he treated the women that he date very well, right? And he was all upset about that. But obviously, you didn't show your daughter something. So here's another thing that we teach people, relationships. I saw someone posted about their son hitting on a little girl in school. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, we was talking about that kind of earlier.
Okay,
a little bit.
So we didn't talk about that on this thing though. So that's what I want to talk about. So they're talking about their little girl, the son hitting on a little girl in school. So the lady said she went and had the son. The little girl's crying and stuff. She went and had the son write a letter, apology letter to the little girl. And then he had to use his birthday savings or something like that to buy the little girl some presents that she took up to the school for a little girl. And the biggest issue, like the first thing that came to mind when she said that's what she had her son do.
I'll bet I know what you're getting ready to say. Go ahead.
I don't think that's sending the right message at all.
Like if you hit
a child. Yep. So you're telling your son it's okay to hit on a woman.
Back to being toxic.
And all you have to do is shower her with gifts and tell her how sorry you are. And she's supposed to forgive you and stay with you. And then you're teaching a little girl, if the little girl's parents allowed her to accept it, hopefully they intercepted that and was like, no, we're not gonna do that. But with the little girl, you teaching them that, hey, if a guy abuses you,
accept gifts and it's okay.
As long as he give you gifts and say he's sorry, that's fine.
Now, what I will say is I understand well, I don't know if I'm about to say this correctly. I understand what she was trying to do as far as apologizing, but I don't think that's the way that she should have made him apologize. I would have you write her a letter, and you embarrass yourself like you embarrassed her. I think that's a better way of just trying to shower with gifts, and even that's still not enough, because at the end of the day, you still technically can't apologize for an action like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think it's a better way of trying to figure out that than doing that, because that does teach everything that you said. It's sort of like what you talked about when how you said when the little boy or
the little boy picks on a little girl, and they like, oh, if he picks on you, he likes you. No,
yeah,
that's toxic. You don't teach kids like that. That's crazy.
I agree.
I think a better way to do that would have been, okay, even if he had to stand up in front of class and apologize, that's one thing. And then if you're gonna make him take money out of his account, make him take it out of his account and donate it to a domestic violence cause or something. That's gonna teach him a lesson more so than, I mean, teach him the right lesson as opposed to
or
buying
take
her
him
gifts.
To a domestic. Oh, I don't know if you can do that. A shelter or something,
or some type of event or whatever, or something other than what she did. I just think that was a big no. And I think a lot of the things that we're teaching kids these days, and we taught kids before in the past, have led to a lot of these issues with relationships. Has led to the issues of some women thinking that like the whole thing about, oh, if he acts this way towards you, that means he likes you. Well, that's one of the reasons I think why some women think like, okay, a guy doesn't like me unless he's yelling at me, or he doesn't like me, or my husband doesn't love me because he ain't slapped me around today. I mean, some women actually think that way, or they'll get mad. And I did a little bit of that before, but I said, like, you must don't love me if you don't care where I'm going. Oh, I mean, so you got some women that actually think they're like, oh, well, he's not asking where I'm going. He trusts me too much. So that means that he doesn't love me, or he doesn't care, or he's doing his own dirt. Yeah. Just, I mean, all of that is kind of just toxic thinking.
Well, I'll tell you like, well, I already said this. I've mentioned it a couple times. I just said it on here. Even to that point, like my son had an incident when he was in high school. I've always said, you don't put, that's what we're going to go to too. I'm pretty sure you wanted that. You don't put your hands on a woman under no circumstances. I watched my mother be in an abusive relationship. I thoroughly believe in that. Unless if she's not threatening your life, you don't put your hands on her. If she hits you, you walk away from her. This, that, and I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that, right? So with that being said, I honestly still believe it. However, I'm wrong, because here's the reason I'm wrong. And we talked about this earlier. No man should ever hit a woman. And no woman, I taught my girls this, should ever put their hands on a man, because every man is not going to think like that, right? And I want you to bring up what you brought up in the kitchen yesterday or whatever when I say this too. But if as a woman you put your hand on a man, you should be thinking that you should expect to get hit back, because if you put your hands on a woman, you expect her to hit you back. So if you put your hands on a man, you should expect to get hit back. Nobody should touch anybody under any circumstances. Now, my personal belief is my personal belief, but I've also told my girls, if you put your hands on a man and if he knock the fire out you, I'll protect you as much as I can, but you're wrong. You don't touch anybody. We don't teach. What did you say in the kitchen when we was talking about that? You don't teach. You don't teach your son to not hit a boy if he don't hit you back. So why would you teach him that? You don't teach. What did you say? How did you say it?
I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but I was saying, like, you're gonna teach your sons to hit another guy if they hit them back. So then why are you not telling them why are you telling them that they should accept abuse from women? Like, because I think that's another issue that we don't talk about, like how men are abused by women, and it's to the point where some men don't even recognize it as abuse and they think it's okay for a woman to hit them or something. There's nothing cool about that. I've taught my sons, like, you don't let no woman sit. I don't care who. You're not gonna let no woman. You're not gonna let a midget. You're not gonna let anybody hit on you, and you're not doing nothing back. Well, that's crazy.
I'm technically still a midget, so if I hit you, you gonna hit me back.
Yeah, but just like I was telling him, now in my younger days, I've gotten in a fight with guys, But if I ever hit a dude first, my expectation is that he gonna hit me back. Like I ain't gonna just hit no dude and think like, oh, he ain't gonna hit me because I'm a woman. Like, why are we teaching them that? So we teaching women that that we can do certain things to men because they not supposed to do anything back to us because we're a woman. Huh? That's crazy.
And to answer your question, on the thoughts of men and women sidebar, sorry, needing counseling before entering a relationship, we totally agree. We actually,
but what type of counseling? Marriage
what
counseling,
type of counseling?
or
that's a good question.
Mental counseling,
that's
or
a good,
both.
That's a good question because we actually go through counseling, and I'm the typical, if you want to say hood black, inwardish person that's like, oh, counseling ain't gonna help this, that, and the third. But like we don't. I mean, we have arguments and disagreements like everybody does, but we don't have it to the point where it's gonna break up our marriage and nothing like that. But we entered it like, and we only been married 2 years now, going on 2 years, and we started doing it early on in the relationship to know how to. Well, she told me this, but I understand it now, and I agree with it now, to know how to handle certain situations when they come up. So the counseling is, we're just talking about whatever we go through in day basis and whatever.
But the counseling is, now this is another reason why the counseling before entering relationships. I would think that even, like you said, before even entering a relationship, because you're gonna invest your time with somebody. Why not y'all start that?
Yep.
Y'all dates out with some counseling. I'm not trying to be funny, but this is the thing. This is why it's important. You can have people have totally different mindsets about certain things. For example, just like we were just discussing about this gender stuff, and why would you date someone who feels totally different with regards to gender roles, whether or not they're a traditionalist, and you're not? Like, why would you date someone like that if you're on two totally different?
I agree. Because if I expected her to cook and then bring me my plate, and that's like a big no-no, and then we wait until we actually get married before that becomes, or you hint at it or whatever the case may be, and she may think that I'm playing or something like that, then we get married like, yo, why you ain't got my plate? And then now we got a whole big issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely I agree with counseling, because they actually can also show you like, hey, well, maybe we really not ready for marriage, but y'all still can be friends, or something. I mean, that's probably slim to none because people don't know how to handle certain rejections and stuff like that. But
and the counseling could be, if you're talking about counseling like before marriage, that's one thing. But when you're talking about counseling before a relationship, I know that may not seem like a good idea, but it could just be one counseling session that helps. Because some people, this is the thing. A lot of people, before they even get in relationships, they don't even communicate very well with each other.
Right.
So there's no communication about boundaries. There's no communication about, like I said, like different mindsets. There's no communications about things. And even though this can come out while dating, they're just, you would be surprised at the things that people do not talk about while they're dating.
Right.
And then it's like they get to the point where they 2 years in, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't know this about so-and-so. I didn't know they thought this way. I didn't know they liked Hitler, and I don't like. I'm serious. Like, I was in this group, and some of the stuff that these people said they didn't know before they got into a deep relationship with her. I'm like, were y'all not having any type of conversation? Like, what type of communication? And all the communication that they were having was like the superficial communication, like superficial layers. What do you like? How you want to travel? Blah 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 blah. But no one was going really deep into these conversations about. For example, some people have different methods of cleaning. Some people have different methods of, they may have, I don't know, just all kinds of stuff that these people were not talking about at all. And then it caused a big issue. Once they decide they really wanted to be together, then all these things come up and they don't know. I didn't know that you didn't like dogs like that, or dog can't lay in the bed. Well, no, we never had a dog, so I didn't think we had to discuss. I mean, it was just stuff like this.
But watch this though. Even with the counseling thing, right? This go back to other live we did when we was talking about settling, right? If you believe in counseling, that should be the point of anybody. I'm gonna say you, I'm talking just about anybody. That should be one of the first things that you bring up. Well, hey, I like you, after a couple of days.
Right. What do you think about counseling?
You think that, once we start getting a little bit more serious, would you be willing to go to counseling? Start off like in counseling, even while dating. If they say no, if that's what you really, really, really want, then you stop. And you stop, because at that point, if they're not to me, that'll say how serious somebody is about you. Doesn't mean they could be against counseling, whatever. If they're willing to sacrifice that just to hear what could possibly happen and they into you like that, they will do it. And if they don't want to do it, then maybe you dodge the bullet. But don't take a chance on giving up one of the things that you really want to do to take a chance on something that they may not give you. But and that's just facts. Like, because how serious are you about being in a real relationship with me if we didn't went on 5 or 6 dates and you're telling me how much what I said earlier, but the thing about falling in love. So if you say that to me, or a woman say that to a man and say, hey, well, we 5, 6 dates in, a month in, whatever, you know what? How would you feel? So you're saying you're like this and you feel like this. Would you like to go to counseling? Not that we have anything wrong, to figure out, how we can communicate better. Oh, because the thing gonna say, oh, we communicate fine. Yeah, we do now. So what happens later on? And if that person is really serious about you, whether they're not about it anyway, number one, what that's going to show you is they already willing to compromise. Because if they're against it, then they're willing to compromise just to see whatever. And then what do you lose after that? But if that's something that you're really for, then don't bag off of it.
And again, even like when I'm thinking about it with the pre-dating or while you're dating thing, like, it doesn't have to be some intensive, extensive sessions, but at least so people can learn how to communicate. Because I can't even think of right now, like, what some of the things were that these people are having issues with. But I'm mean, like, y'all are 5 years into it and y'all just not realizing that you're on two totally opposite ends when it comes to this. Like, y'all never discussed it. And it can be something so simple.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Like,
hold on. Look, I would say this right here. It's Bryce. I'm gonna get to that too, because I was like that too. That's Vaughn that I was telling you about. Okay. That I be talking about my man. The crazy part is the simple thing. Like, when we first got together, I ain't saying counseling was needed for this, or I would have known early on. But this was like, she let it go so much to, like, I don't know, 6, 7 months, 8 months in, it irritates her if I walk around the house and I don't have house shoes on. To me, that was the dumbest, most aggravatingest thing in the world. Like, what the hell I gotta wear house shoes for? Right? Like, and it really irritated me. Now, of course, later on, I've stepped in things, wet floors, and because I've never done that before. So, but if we would have started off with a counseling session and that would have been something that would have been brought up, you know what I mean? Like, I would have known that then versus 8, 9 months later. Like, she don't like me doing this. Let me see, can y'all see this? See those socks in the bed? That irritates her. But on the same token, like, those are the little things that counseling can help you get through and you don't even have to worry about. Because I'm the type of person that always had an attitude. Nobody gonna tell me what to do. That's stupid. I'm not doing it. Yada, 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 yada. Now, she had to put up with a lot of that. But if we would have been in counseling earlier, she would have seen all of that. Mm-hmm. So,
and it also helps people because we are all carrying around a lot of stuff with us. And sometimes we don't realize how much stuff we're carrying around with us and how it carries over into relationship. And so if you're the type of person like me that dates with the intent of date with a purpose, then it's really important to do a session where you at least communicate, where you can talk about even those things. So there's things that we don't unpack right away. And it goes right into the other thing I was going to talk about today, because I saw this on Raven.
Well, hold on. I want to answer Vaughn right quick. Vaughn, you saying you don't believe in it. Now, bro, I know you. And I know the old you. I seen the new you and how you change. You talking about the communicating with each other is it, but counseling helps with the communication, bro. Because I know how your attitude used to be, and I know I haven't been around you, in the last 10 years like that. But I can tell you this because I know you. I guarantee you it was harder. I guarantee you it'd been easier for you to come down off of your attitude. Or certain things you like if you would have went through counseling, because then you would have started understanding more.
Right.
And that's what it does. Yeah, communication is definitely the key.
That's the key to everything.
But it's how you communicate.
Okay. You can communicate with people in a way. You can't communicate with everybody the same way. And we talked about this before. So you may have dated somebody before and you can communicate it to them in this way. Like he has a tendency to get really animated when he's discussing something he's passionate about. To me, that I don't like that because I remember
She
that's how my
says
dad
yelling,
was all the
yeah.
time. Like all he did was yell. And so like he would have never known that had we not been able to communicate about that. Part of the reason I was able to communicate is because of the counseling helping us. And that's what I was going to just talking about was the other topic was that actually Raven had posted, shared a post from a guy. And he said, stop biting your tongue in your relationship about shit that really bothers you or makes you uncomfortable. I need you
That's
to
10
fight.
push-ups.
Oh no, dang it. Because I said the S word, but I was repeating. Okay. He said, I need you to fight that feeling that you're being annoying or you just don't want to start SHIT. What you feel matters, and it's not fair to you or them keeping these things to yourself. Yep. That's called being passive. But that's the part of communication we're talking about. Like you may think you have a perfect marriage and never know that your partner has been holding some stuff in and holding because they feel like they can't say it to you or they don't want to bother you or they don't want to know. I kept doing that to him. And I was like, he'd be like, why? I'm like, oh, because I ain't want to seem like it's bothersome or annoying. He'd be like, what? I don't want to feel like I'm nagging you. And he'd be like, what? Like, that's crazy. But people are going around biting their tongue in their relationships all the time. And it's just because they're not sure how to communicate with each other.
So and to her point, Yvonne, I agree. And that's why I married her in less than 2 years. But I agree with what she says. Because here's the thing. A lot of people, when we don't communicate appropriately, what happens is, and people are biting their tongue, it's because they're worried about the reaction from the other person. The first thing that we need to know is that I'm going to say some crap that, or I may feel a way that's going to make her mad. She may feel a way that's going to make me mad. We've had these type of discussions, and it's understanding that we love each other. And that no matter what, we're going to get through each other. Again, as I've said 1,000 times before, that, and this is anybody that actually know me, and Vaughn, you do, because Vaughn, I told you a lot of my problems in last time I was married, but it's a new mindset for me. But knowing that that's my wife and she's there forever, those arguments or those disagreements, if she don't tell me, I can't fix it. If I don't tell her, she can't fix it. Mm-hmm. If I hold it in, what's going to happen is, everybody should know this. The more you hold in, then all of a sudden you explode. And when you explode with everything you've been holding in. And then you looking at each other like, what? I didn't know you felt like that. Why you at da-da-da? And now all of this, you trying to wrap your head around, and you're not going to be able, first of all, you're going to be caught off, and then you're going to be hurt with everything. It's like, I'm thinking I'm being perfect, or I'm being the perfect wife or husband. And now you got to try to wrap your head around all of that. She started something with me with the touch base thing that we do every week. And then we tell each other how we feel. So at that moment, if I say something and it hurt her or vice versa, then we talk about it. It took us New Year's Eve, the day after New Year, it took us a whole 6 hours to get through something, but we got through it. But imagine if we would have held that in, and then it would have went on and went on and went on and went on. Then something else would have happened, and something else. Once you communicate and get it out of the way, whether you don't have to agree, you have to come to a agreeable understanding. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's
and you don't really know how many, like, there's been so many relationships and even marriages that have ended from this one fact, because they were not communicating to each other. People were holding each other things in, and then, and guys, I noticed because I used to be a minister too. So.
The devil.
But I'm just saying, like, there were so many instances, and there's been, like, even in these marriage groups, so many instances of people, and the person, rightfully so, the partner would feel like, but I've been doing everything that I thought was right. Okay, well, things that you thought were right in the right. Did you ever check in with your partner to see if they felt the same way, or did your partner ever communicate to you that they wouldn't? So then you got people that's together 20 years, and all of a sudden they partner jump up, oh, I want a divorce. And they completely like, what's wrong? Nothing's been going on. Like, why do you want a divorce? Because that communication hasn't been there. So that's why I'm saying, even in early stages, that counseling is a good idea, because it's teaching people. And there's nothing, that doesn't mean you have a character flaw because you all don't communicate well. But it's the fact the society that we've been raised in has taught us how not to communicate with each other very well, especially when it comes to Black men and Black women. It's taught us to always be in opposition with each other, to always be opposed to each other. And so we have to learn how to communicate with each other.
Yep. And I just understand, and I'll continuously say this, because maybe it can help somebody when they get in a situation. I don't wear my wedding ring, right? It's just because I don't really like rings. But in our worst of worst arguments, and I don't know if she ever noticed it, but I had to tell her. Like when we was coming to Iowa, we was arguing about something. We live in Charlotte, of course. Got to Knoxville. She was asleep. We 4.5 hours into the ride. I was still upset for whatever it was. I don't even know what it was. But the first thing I do is I grab my wedding ring and I put it on because I don't want to talk to her at that time. I'm mad at her at that time. But that's my symbol to let her know that, hey, I'm here. I just don't like you right now, or I'm just mad at you right now. You forever gonna be my wife. But so I put it on, and then once we get through everything and calm down, I'll take it off. But but that's my way of communicating to her without actually saying something until we calm down. That's my own personal way. It's just I just want her to know that, because most people when they get mad, what do? They take their wedding rings off. I put mine on. If I don't wear it, I'm gonna put it on. It's the opposite effect. My mind goes like that sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I gotta say. Counseling is a wonderful thing. It's help. I tell you that's the example I wanted. You remember when we got into that argument, or we was talking in bed and we was arguing about, I don't want to tell what it was about, but when I got in your face, when you said I was in your face,
yes.
So
with the hand thing,
I always talk like this or this, that, and the third, right? And we had a discussion, and I seen a while ago, like when I get upset, like she feels threatened if I like in her face or yelling or whatever, right? Cool, whatever. So I stopped trying to do that.
What I think is yelling. Yeah.
Oh, what she think is yelling.
Perceive it, yeah.
So what happens is we were laying in bed and we was having a debate or argument, whatever you want to call it. I was like this, like we all side by side, and I'm pointing like this, right? I'm not in her face like this. So to me doing this, da 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 da, no, yada da 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 da. And she's like, "Why are you in my face?" I'm like, "I'm not in your face. What are you talking about?" And I'm doing this now. I'm pointing this way, like away from her. She said I'm in her face. I didn't perceive that as being in her face. And next morning we talked about it. I'm like, y'all wasn't in your face. I was doing this. I was doing that. Da 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 da. I was doing. No, yes you were. I know I wasn't. So we go to counseling. Not about that. Just our weekly counseling thing that we do. We bring it up. We talk about it. And then I realized that why she thought I was in her face. I mean, it wasn't nothing major where I was threatening her, but if she felt that I was in her face, and that's threatening her, I don't need to be doing that, right? I could have stuck with I wasn't in your face, because I still don't really think it's in your face, but I could see why say it's in her face. So I think that's something minor, but it's major, because if your spouse or your partner is not feeling comfortable with something you're doing, if she would have never told me that, I could have kept on doing this, and me thinking like, okay, I'm not in her face, so it shouldn't be bothering her. So it's like that it helps in those things like that, because if we wouldn't have had the counselor, I would have never thought. I would be like, "Are you crazy? I'm not in your face. Get out, get away from me." You know what I mean? So it's little things it can prevent from being big things.
You really can. It can.
I got classwork to do.
So yeah, that's definitely something that people should think about. I think that was all my topics.
Yep.
So, a round of applause again for coming with an actually.
See, we gotta go to counseling about this too.
Yeah, some topics.
This is trauma to me. But yeah, that's all I have to say. We still got to do a vision board. We supposed to have been did that. I don't know what this
and our burning ceremony.
I don't know what
we're gonna do that.
I don't know what a burning ceremony is, unless it's weed. Now we ain't smoke.
No, we're not burning weed. It's a burning ceremony. It's about releasing negativity.
No,
okay, so we're gonna do it. But anyway, we're gonna do it.
I haven't looked it up or nothing. Just surprise me.
Okay, so we're gonna do it.
Can we do it with some alcohol?
No, because I can't drink on the weekdays.
You said 2 weekends.
Yeah, but
we can do it Friday. We do a Saturday morning.
Why would I use this weekend when I'm gonna be in Daytona? That doesn't make sense. I got my birthday weekend at Daytona. We talking about Lent stuff, but anyway. So yeah, we do our vision board, and we're gonna share our vision board.
When we go back to Sundays, we're in Iowa now on Central Time, so it's kind of a little bit hectic with what we got going on.
Yeah,
we'll try to go back to Sundays, and what time we say 8? Mm-hmm. We'll come up with some more stuff. She normally come up with the topics. It's normally about things that we see, which I took myself out of the marriage groups because I got tired of all the negativity.
There's a lot of negativity in the marriage group.
Yeah, that's something else too. That's another reason we started doing this. Is number one, it doesn't matter if we got one view or 5. And we said this from the start: 1 view or 1 million views, right? This is also a counseling session for us. It's therapeutic. It's us time, it's we time, it's marriage time, it's couple time, it's husband and wife time, whatever you want to say. Uh, it's if we got nobody looking, it's like we're talking to the world anyway, and each other as well. Because we have like a lot of discussions that's very interesting, and we can talk face to face. That's fine. This, that, and the third. But I don't know. I just that's the whole purpose of this. Trying to give people different points of how to make a relationship work, marriage work, what we do. Of course, nobody's perfect. We're never claiming to be perfect, but a lot of it comes with maturity from men. Vaughn, obviously, he's been married 16 years, and I can tell you, my brother been through. Anyway, he's changed. It comes with maturity with us men. Y'all women mature a lot quicker than us. And going back to the trauma statement, that's exactly what a lot of men expect. I'll say this. I've said it once. I'll say it a million times before. If I ever disrespect her, cheat on her, or something like that, I expect her to leave me. I don't expect her to give me a second chance because I already know my first chance should be my last chance. And I wholeheartedly stick by that. And I probably will do what the typical man do, which I never would cheat. Just to let you know, I'm never gonna cheat. But I'll probably do it to, oh baby, I messed up. It wasn't a mistake. I'm telling you now in front of everybody, if I do it, I intentionally did it. I don't care what I lie and say I did, because there's no reason I should be fantasizing about another woman, looking at another woman sexually. I get that they say men are men and men do this. I'm not doing that. If I can allow myself to do that, then like I said, that's part of a disrespect. And I try to pride myself on respect. So and anybody in a relationship, you pride yourself on respect. If somebody don't respect you, then you leave them. Respect yourself enough to
not deal with any type of disrespect. Yeah.
And ladies, let me say this. I'm sorry. From a dude that used to not be good and do all this with women and on this women, it's an old saying and it's a true saying. We only do what we know y'all gonna let us get away with. Simple and plain. If you tell a dude from the dating stage, you got one time to cheat on me. You got one time to lie. You got one time to do X, Y, Z. And you out of here, buddy. Now, does people make mistakes? Yes. Depends on what you call it. Cheating is not a mistake. Lying, I'm 20/80 on that. Like, I think sometimes you have to lie, stretch the truth, but it should never be about another person that can involve in your relationship, that can break up your relationship, that those type of things. That should never. If y'all ladies, look, I'm sorry to put this pressure on y'all, but I'm just gonna be honest. If y'all ladies, and I'm in my Derek Jackson bag right now, Jackson, whatever the name is. If y'all ladies want better, y'all got to do better. And when I say that, I'm sorry to put all of the weight on y'all shoulders, but we do what y'all let us get away with. Period. I don't care how much you think you love a man, how much a man says this, do this, does that, da 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 da. One time, and we should be out of there. Period. And if more women do that, I guarantee you guys will start getting it straight, because then they're gonna know that, man, she ain't gonna take that. Whatever. She ain't gonna take that. Whatever. And then it becomes a pattern. It becomes a pattern because. And yes, I know men should just do better and da 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 da. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say we have no fault, but don't look like we're gonna do better. Just doesn't. So you have to protect yourself at that point.
Yeah.
You have to protect yourself at that point.
Yeah.
And then it'll make some of our young men. It'll make some of our young men do better as well.
Yeah, because a woman doesn't have to go through trauma to be loved.
You don't.
She never have to go through trauma to be loved. That's crazy.
And I didn't put a lot of them through trauma, and some that I'm not proud of. I did have a lot of female friends that used to call me because they knew that I was going to tell them the truth. But you definitely shouldn't have. Nobody should have to go through trauma to be loved. But we seem that that little 2-inch split that y'all got between your legs drives us crazy. So maybe 2 inches and 19 feet deep, but whatever.
Really?
Yeah. Some of y'all got some holes the size of the Grand Canyon.
If that not so, some.
I know, baby. I just had to say it. May not be true, but that's not the point. Had to blame something on women.
So then we gotta talk about that next time.
Okay. Yeah. All right, man. I'm going. Here, give me a kiss. Love you.
Love you too. All right. Have a good night.
Thank y'all. Now I gotta do my schoolwork.